Hey everyone, doing a bit of a different video here. Now, I like to constantly improve as a software developer, and books help me do that by teaching me what other people have learned. In this video, I like to share my top 5 best books to help you become a better software developer. Now, these aren't really technical books. While 2 are geared towards software developers, the others are more general books that can be applied to your software career. Alright, book here is The Effective Engineer by Edmund Lau. And this is an actionable book that goes over 3 main topics: developing the right mindset, executing effectively, and building long-term value. Now with each of these topics, the book goes over ways in which you can improve in them. In developing the right mindset, it mentions you can continuously learn new things, which as a software developer you already do, but also goes over ways in how you can prioritize your tasks more effectively to get the right stuff done first. For executing effectively, it mentions you can master your environment, such as your IDEs or version control systems, so you can work faster and more effectively. It also mentions to get better at estimation. While software estimation is one of the hardest things that we do, getting good at it will make us much more effective. And if you want another book to help you on how to estimate software, Steve McConnell, who also wrote Code Complete, wrote a book on how to estimate software. For building long-term value, the book mentions that the best you can do is to invest in your team, such as helping them learn and to help make their jobs much easier. Alright, our next book is So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport. And this book goes into detail on how you can become so good at your job that you can just essentially create your own dream job. And sections in this book include things such as to ignore your passion, since passion alone isn't good enough to create your dream job. Instead, the author argues that you can develop passion in what you're doing. To build career capital, which are skills that are rare and valuable in your line of work, and then to build upon those. Having those rare and valuable skills is what makes you so good that people can't ignore you. And to build the career capital, the author mentions you can do this by implementing deliberate practice, which you may have heard before. And if you want to learn more about deliberate practice, there is another book called Peak, which is written by the researcher who came up with the term. There's also a part of the book that mentions to have a craftsman mindset, where you focus on what you're offering rather than what you're getting. And having this mindset can also let you give more quality work. It also mentions where you can gain control of your job, what you want to make sure you love it more and then to make it more of the dream job. It also mentions to have a mission for your career, which is where you care about what you're doing for a greater purpose. There's another book by Daniel Pink called Drive that goes over this and the previous point in much more detail and why they're important for loving your job. Those things include autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And which is another one from Cal Newport called Deep Work. And the first part of this book goes into detail on how deep work is rare at work these days due to just having a lot more distractions than we used to. And in order to do deliberate practice, which is mentioned in the previous book, you must be able to employ deep work. And having the focus required for it can be disturbed pretty easily, especially when we have big disruptors in our pockets. And then the other parts of the book go over the enemies of deep work, and mostly it mentions social media and daily distractions such as email or chat messages that can constantly bombard you with tiny distractions throughout the day. And the author mentions that the best way to perform this deep work is to pretty much remove all those distractions and block off a good amount of time to be able to focus on what you need to focus on. Now, a decent amount of being a good developer revolves around technical skills. However, a good amount of it also revolves around soft skills, such as communication and being able to market yourself. And that's where this book, Soft Skills by John Sonmez, comes in. It goes into all of that plus other things you may not realize they could use some hints on how to go about, such as how to effectively work remotely, which is another skill in itself than working from the office. or learning how to learn, because we are constantly learning new frameworks or languages. If we can learn more effectively, then we can be much better at our jobs and then much better software developers because of it. And it also goes into how to be the most productive throughout the day and gives some techniques such as the Pomodoro technique, how you can focus little chunks of time during the day. But there are also some sections in here that you wouldn't think would be, such as just some that can help you learn how to handle your finances and how to be just a bit healthier. Alright, and this book here is one of my favorites. Adam Grant's Give and Take mainly goes into why being a giver, or simply helping others at your work, would drive you to be more successful. Now, most companies often cite wanting people who are a team player, and this book shows exactly why. You have to be careful though, because it also describes that there's a thin line between being an effective giver and an ineffective giver. And that line is often you always saying yes to helping people. Effective givers know when they have too much on their plate and will decline offering to help others until those things are done. Whereas the ineffective givers will continue to take on more and more. And so while an effective giver's productivity is declined since they help others so much, an ineffective giver won't have enough time to get their own work done if they continue to help others. Those are my top 5 books. I hope that probably gave you some reading for the next year. And until next time, thanks for watching.